Hello there everybody, my name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be discussing a Chicago Bulls video, but more specifically, more trade targets the Chicago Bulls can pursue. It seems like over the last 2 days specifically, there are two players that come to mind right now that the Chicago Bulls might be having interest in. We've already talked about Michael Porter Jr., he's not part of this video, but of course, you know, he's an option also. But we've got Zion Williamson right now that's been, I guess, rumored to be around the Chicago Bulls. And we've got Jimmy Butler, who's been rumored around the Chicago Bulls for obvious reasons. So without further ado, I'm going to discuss what both players would bring to this team, whether or not it's the right idea to do, and ultimately, whether we can actually pull something like that off. Those are the things I have in mind. Hopefully we can get through all of it in this video. But before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new. And let me know in the comments below your thoughts about these Chicago Bulls. And do you see any big deals like this happening in our future? Now, I completely understand people might look at this and say, unrealistic. Instantly turn off the video, maybe leave a dislike, walk into, walk out of this video never to be seen again. I understand that this is not necessarily a video discussing realism, because realistically, I personally think we shouldn't be going after these targets. But at the end of the day, as long as it's rumored, it is a discussion point at least. So, Zion Williamson, we'll talk about him first, from the New Orleans Pelicans. A player on his day is a massive threat to the NBA. Highly athletic, highly physical, can dominate you in more ways than one, is a big guy to have on your team, and many Bulls fans were ridiculously happy when we were linked to Zion Williamson even a couple of seasons ago. So I'm sure a lot of Bulls fans would be excited by the possibility of this happening now. Zion Williamson is still at a young age. Unfortunately, the big thing with Zion is his injury track record is unbelievably bad for a guy of his age. Now, we could talk about potential all we like here, but I think everybody can agree with me when I say one of the best attributes at least to have in an NBA season, especially when you're trying to go for playoff success as well, is availability. You need to be ready to play. You know, we could critique DeMar DeRozan for a lot of things that he did wrong with the Chicago Bulls, but at the end of the day, he was always there. He was always balling out. When we needed him, he was there. Can you say the same thing about a lot of the other guys on this team? Not even Zion Williamson specifically, but on this team now. No, you can't say that about a lot of guys. Some guys, yes, of course you can. Most guys, maybe. But some guys you can't say that with. And Zion Williamson, if you bring him to this Bulls team, I just have my fears that we're just going to be getting another player that's going to be all potential. He's already an all-star caliber player at his best, but he might not ever, achieve anything because of that injury record. You could be getting another Joel Embiid on your team, if you know what I mean. So it's something that I'm very hesitant towards. But the age of the player, the potential of the player, if the Bulls were to pursue a risk like this, it's not, for me personally, the end of the world. I could see why the Bulls would want to do something like this and go and get a Zion Williamson and bring him to Chicago. A big name player in a big name franchise. He would definitely bring a lot of eyeballs back to the land of Chicago, and maybe there will be some success that goes alongside with it. But how long will that be? Can it be sustainable? These are questions I have when it comes to Zion Williamson. So, obviously, we're talking about Zach LaVine being in return for this. I don't think you can see a world where you would not give up Zach LaVine for Zion Williamson. He's the only player that you would even come remotely close to getting this deal done with. You're not going to get it done with Vucevic. You're not going to get it done with Lonzo Ball. You're not going to get it done with a whole collection of players. I think you're going to have to get rid of Zach LaVine to make this work. Is that the right thing to do? Well, considering the fact that I think both players want to leave, I think Zion wants to leave the Pelicans, and I think LaVine wants to leave Chicago. Deep down, he may not admit it, but I think deep down he does. It's a deal that could be worth doing, but again, I think you would be better off seeing both of them play together than seeing them traded for each other. So in an ideal situation, if the Bulls are going for a win-now approach and you could find a way to bring Zion Williamson into this team, then that's something I would consider doing with LaVine instead of for LaVine, but it's not going to happen, let's be honest. But yes, I would consider doing a deal with Zion Williamson involved. Okay, moving on. Jimmy Butler. Why is Jimmy Butler coming into the conversation? Well, ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy Butler, if there's anything that we know about him, is that he likes to talk. And he likes to be brutally honest in his assessments in his situation, and my goodness was he brutally honest. Basically said he does not find playing with the Miami Heat on the court enjoyable anymore. And you know what? I don't blame him a single bit for saying something like that. And it's probably the same reason why he didn't have that much enjoyment with the Chicago Bulls, because no one built a proper team around him. This man got to the finals twice with Miami. And it felt like he had to do he was against the whole world to do it. From the 8th seed to the finals, from the bubble to the finals. And he just didn't have enough around him to help. There was no help. And at the end of the day, in today's NBA especially, you need help around you to win championships. Bam Adebayo, as good as he is, he's not enough. Tyler Hero had his injury concerns, I believe, as well. But it just wasn't enough. And I can understand the frustration of Jimmy Butler being the competitor that he is to want to go to an environment to win games and find that enjoyment again, and for it to not work out. I can understand that. Obviously, he's been suspended, I believe, as well, for his quotes, basically saying that he doesn't think he can find happiness back on the court here in Miami, not here. But yeah, there's a big conversation with Jimmy Butler going around for every team, I would say. And I think the Bulls do have a valid interest in this. I'll get to the reasons why. But ultimately, with Jimmy Butler, number one, you're going to have, I think, big competitors to go after him. So you're definitely not in a one-horse race with Jimmy Butler. Nor would you be with Zion Williamson, to be fair. But I think there's going to be a lot more people targeting Jimmy Butler. And two, a lot of people question his attitude, basically saying that everywhere he goes, he's the problem. Look, if you look deeper down into the problems with Jimmy Butler, I mean, we can get into it. When he was first here in Chicago, we had an ownership problem. We had coaching issues with Fred Hoiberg. And maybe Jimmy Butler was part of that problem. But at the end of the day, the Bulls traded him. It was not him requesting a trade. So I don't necessarily think he ended things badly with the Bulls in that regard. I think the Bulls decided that they didn't want to build a future with him. And I think we paid the price for that. So that definitely wasn't ending badly on Jimmy Butler's terms. Minnesota was definitely him. We can't really take anything away from that. He had I don't know what went down in Minnesota, but that was really filthy. With Philly, they basically picked Tobias Harris over him. There's a big meme about it. Tobias Harris over me. You know, I think that makes sense. That's not necessarily ending badly in that situation either. I mean, maybe his attitude towards those teams have changed since then. But again, it's not something that he specifically did. And with Miami, this is on him. He basically said he doesn't want to be there. So that's on him. And when that happens, maybe there is a little bit of an attitude problem there. But not all of it. I think we're blowing it out of proportion a little bit when it comes to that. In terms of whether or not Jimmy Butler can find his enjoyment in Chicago, there's only one reason I can see Jimmy Butler enjoying Chicago. Basically, when he left the Bulls and went to go join his different teams, he did say in interviews that he would like to retire in Chicago. He said that in interviews. He would like to have that last hurrah in Chicago. So, if that's what this is for Jimmy Butler, the last couple of seasons of his career, he wants to end it in Chicago, then I can see the enjoyment factor being there for him. But if you're talking about being competitive, and if that's what's going to bring Jimmy Butler's enjoyment back and balling out again, you're not going to find that in Chicago. If you trade Jimmy Butler, you're going to trade Zach LaVine, sure. The Bulls' defense will get much better. I definitely agree with that. And, of course, you're getting another playmaker. But you're getting rid of big three-point shooting with Zach LaVine. And in this team, we take about 63s a game, apparently. So losing a three-point shooter is not going to be a good thing for the Bulls. And in all, I don't necessarily think you can go and make the playoffs with this current team if you add Jimmy Butler. It would be like the Miami Heat all over again, in my opinion, at least. So the enjoyment factor would have to be for a reason outside of competing. And if that's the case, then I would welcome Jimmy Butler in with open arms. I would love to see Jimmy Butler back with this Bulls team one more time. So I would be open to both ideas is what I'm trying to say. For different reasons, of course. Obviously, we've got the D-Rose ceremony coming tomorrow, man. I would have loved D-Rose to have one last hurrah here. So if we can get that with Jimmy Butler, of course I'd be happy with that. But I don't think it's necessarily that time in his career, first and foremost. And we're not in a position to be competing if we did bring in Jimmy Butler, I think. Can we get these deals over the line? No. I think for both of them, the answer is no. Unfortunately, this is another situation of Bulls fans overhyping their players. We do not have enough to get these deals over the line. And if we do have enough, if teams do take the bite on Zach LaVine and maybe somebody else involved, okay, welcome them in. But I think we don't have enough to be offering for Zion or for LaVine. Or for Jimmy Butler, sorry. Do you agree? I mean, to be fair with Jimmy Butler, his trade value is at an all-time low because he's not playing well, and he basically has said publicly he doesn't enjoy it in Miami. Maybe we can lowball Miami and get away with it. I guess it all depends on how quickly they want to get a deal over the line. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a wonderful and safe day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Let's hope for a Bulls victory against the Knicks. And let's hope that D-Rose ceremony is going to be oh so special. I'll see you in the game reaction. Take care, and peace.